Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 1, Chapter 4.2 Notes. Today we're going to be talking about graphing linear equations. Our learning target today is to be able to determine if a point is a solution to a linear equation, to be able to write an equation in slope-intercept form, and to be able to graph a linear equation in slope-intercept form by using a table of values. Alrighty. So to start off with, here are our new vocabulary words that we're going to be talking about today. A linear equation. A linear equation has the base root word line, okay? And what that means is it's an equation that produces a line as a graph. Slope-intercept form is going to be something you guys are going to love, and you're going to know these formulas forwards and backwards, but it's y equals something x plus something, or the something x minus something. The key thing is you want to get y by itself. The other thing we're always going to be telling you to do is to solve for y. Okay? And a solution of a linear equation is a point that is part of a line. When you substitute into the equation, it gives you a true statement. Okay? And that's what we're going to be working with first. Okay, so if you need to continue to write these down, pause the video real quick, copy down the rest of the vocab. Otherwise, let's go ahead and get started. So, determine if the point is a solution to the equation. So, what it tells us an x and a y. Okay, we remember from yesterday, x is the first coordinate, y is the second. So what we have to do is plug those numbers into the equation, okay? So we're plugging in 1 for x and 2 for y. And then we just go ahead and solve. 1 plus 2 times 2 is 4. Does that equal 5? 5 equals 5. So this is a true statement, okay? The other thing you can just say is yes. All right, let's do the next one. So there's our points. And we're doing the same exact thing. Take our equation and plug in the numbers. We have 7 and negative 3. So 7 plus 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Does that equal 5? And that gets us 1. Does 1 equal 5? No. All right. Number 3. Let's go ahead and we'll start looking to see where everything goes. So it's going to be 2 times negative 5 plus negative 2, and does that equal negative 12? So negative 5 goes there, negative 2 goes there. Go ahead and pause the video and try the problem. Let's see how you guys do. Okay, I got that was a true statement. Okay, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then negative 10 plus negative 2, you add those up and you get negative 12 equals negative 12. All right, let's do the next one. Help you set it up. So let's see, there's the 0, y, x goes right there. So negative 1/2 plus 1. So, and we're plugging in 0 and negative 2. All right, guys, you're up. Don't be scared because it's a fraction. Go ahead and pause the video and try it out. Okay, for that one I got no because negative 1/2 times negative 2 gives us a positive 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. All right, you guys are up for 5 and 6. Pause the video, try it out. Both of them. Okay, and for both of those, we got no. All right, filling out a table of values for a linear equation. So, what we have to do is they are telling us what x is. And we do not know what to plug in for y. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to plug in x, and then we're going to see what we get. Okay? So let's try it out. We have 3 comma negative 2 plus y equals 2. Well, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus y equals 2. And to get the y by itself, we have to add the 6 to both sides. We get y equals 8. All right, so that's the first one. Let's do it again, because now we have to plug in negative 1. 3 times negative 1 plus y equals 2. We're using the same equation, negative 3 plus y equals 2. Okay, same thing. We have to add 3 to both sides. We get y equals 5. Okay, and then we would do the same thing for the next ones. Okay, and I believe we would get 2, then we would get negative 1, and then we would get negative 4. Okay, now let's try the other one. On the other side, we're going to do the exact same thing. Y equals 2 times negative 2 minus 1. Y equals negative 4 minus 1. Well, that is negative 5. Next one. Y equals 2 times negative 1 minus 1. That gives us negative 2. And we get negative 3. Y equals 2 times 0 minus 1. Well, that just gives us negative 1. Okay. And same thing, we keep going with the pattern. Now, which one of these is easier? Hopefully you're saying, well, Mr. Grice, the one on the right was a heck of a lot easier. And the reason that one is a lot easier is because the y is by itself. Okay. We always want to solve for y when we're doing something like that. Otherwise, you're making a lot more work for yourself. Okay, let's go ahead and flip it over. Now, as you notice, it's easier to fill out the table when y is by itself. That's called the slope-intercept form. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite these problems in slope-intercept form. And what we want to do is solve for y. Okay, we want the y by itself. So how do we get the y by itself for the first one? Minus the 5x to both sides. And we get y equals negative 5x plus 6. Okay, and now this is the equation that we talked about on the other side. Or that's what we want it to look like. All right, next one. A couple more steps. Subtract the 4x to both sides. You get negative 2y equals negative 4x, and that's a positive 8. To get the y by itself, we have to divide by negative 2. And we're left with y equals 2x minus 4. All right, let's do another one. Solve for y, so the first thing we have to do is move the 3x. So you get negative 9y equals negative 3x minus 9. Divide by negative 9, and you have to divide everything by negative 9. And we get y equals, ooh, did you get 0.3? Well, erase that because you shouldn't use a decimal. We always want a fraction as our answer, okay? So we're gonna always keep the number in front of the x as a fraction. All right. Why don't you try 12, pause the video, and let's see how you do. Okay, and when you're dividing right here, we know that the x that is 1x, so that's why we wrote that as a fraction. Okay, 13 and 14, go ahead and try and pause the video. Okay, and those should have been the answers that you get. All right, graphing lines by using a table of values. Now, the first thing you always want to do is make sure that's in slope-intercept form. Choose at least 5x values, and then connect it with a straight line. Okay, now, the points that we're going to be using for these is we're always going to say pick true negatives, 0, and 2 positives. Okay, and pretty much you can do any numbers you want to, but we want to make sure that it always fits on the line. So, and now what we have to do is start plugging those in. So 2 times -2 is -4. -4 minus 5 gives us -9. All right, here's one. Y equals 2, -1 minus 5. That's -2 minus 5, which gives us -7. Okay, 2 times 0, it's 0 minus 5, and that gives us -5. Y equals 2 times 1 minus 5, 2 minus 5, that gives us -3. And the last one, y equals 2 times 2 minus 5, which is 4 minus 5, which gives us -1. So those are all the points that we have, and now what we have to do, -2, -9, is we're going to start to plot those. -1, -7, 0, -5, 1, -3, and 2, -1. And if you look at this, it's going to create a perfectly straight line. Okay, and what we need to remember to do is to draw a straight line and add the arrows. Okay, because those arrows tell me that that line goes on forever and ever. Okay, now let's take a look at the next one. The next one is y equals -1/2 x plus 7. Now, the nice thing about this is the y is already by itself. Okay, now I want to avoid, avoid having decimals in here, so I'm going to pick a couple different numbers. -4, -2, 0, 2, and 4. Okay, that's just going to help it out. Otherwise, you'd be dealing with decimals with like 0.5 and stuff like that, and we don't want to do that. So you're doing the same thing. So y equals -1/2 times -4 plus 4, which gives us 2 plus 4, which is 6. Okay, and for all this stuff, you can do this on your calculator. -1/2, and now we're plugging in -2 plus 4, which gives us 1 plus 4, which is 5. Okay. This next one would give us 4, and then 3, and then 2. All right, now when you're graphing this, you just have to be careful that you're going to the right points now. So 0, I'm at 4, at 2, we're at 3. Okay, because this graph is going to look a little different. If you don't put in the right points. Okay. Now, if you would have used decimals, you would have gotten the same exact graph. Okay. Or if you used -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2, like we did in the previous one. Okay. All right. Now for 17, I'm going to let you guys, we'll do the first part together because is the y by itself? No, So that's what we have to do. So I'm going to subtract the 4x to both sides. And you get negative 2y equals negative 4x, and that's a positive 6. We have to divide by negative 2, and we get y equals 2x minus 3. So now we're happy because that y is by itself. We're going to pick 5 points, and you guys are in charge. Go ahead and pause the video and figure out what all your y points are, and then we'll graph it together. Okay? All right, those should have been your answers. So start graphing it. Negative 2, we're at negative 7. At negative 1, we're at negative 5. At 0, we're at negative 3. 1, we're at negative 1. And then at 2, we're at positive 1. Now, if your graph, or if your points do not all line up and make a pretty line, you did something wrong. Okay. Let's go ahead and do number 18. So you guys are in charge of solving for y and plugging in. I will check in with you after that. So go ahead and pause the video. Let's see what you get. I'm checking in right here real quick because the y is not by itself. So make sure you are dividing right here by negative 1. And you get y equals negative 3x plus 5. Okay? All right. Pause the video again. All right, if you notice right away that the first point that you get negative 211, all the way up here, too big. Okay, now you can graph it up there. What I ended up doing was adding another point, and then we get our line. Okay, well, that's going to be it for Algebra 1, Chapter 4.2 Notes, Graphing Linear Equations by Using a Table of Values. If you have any questions, please come see Ms. Carranza or myself. We would love to help you out. Otherwise, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching.